The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
Welcome to Alien Theorist Theorizing Power Contingency Power Hour. If you're listening to this recording, that means that most likely I finally succumbed to all my injuries after 33 years. Andrew's finally had enough of the Lions and has taken his own life. Dan's head's exploded with too much knowledge, and Zell's probably having a baby. Anyways, I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
All those things are probably half true.
One or more of those things is true.
At least one is true.
Anyways, little power hour for you. You know, we'll get back to the regular drudgery next week. The prosaicness. Okay, first off, on this power hour, I mean, absolutely fucking terrible. But that Alec Baldwin shooting on the set of Rust.
Yeah, right.
It is unbelievable. Now it's tough because, like, from what I was reading, it's hard because, like, now that it's, as soon as it hits, like, where it's such hot news where you read it everywhere, it's hard to kind of pin down exactly what's going on. So I'll kind of wait for the official story to kind of pull out. But what I've seen is that they were having issues with the guns on set, like misfiring and stuff, and that safety crews and stuff and union workers may have walked off the set for safety reasons, like earlier in the week or earlier in the day, and someone handed Alec Baldwin a gun for the shoot and announced cold gun, or whatever their safety procedures are. They were shooting the scene. He fires the gun. It fires the projectile and kills the cinematographer. I wish I had her name out.
Cinematographer, yeah.
Yes.
And injures the director. Now, you know, people, I've read some places that it was loaded with a live bullet. But you know what, I'll wait for any kind of police report and stuff on that, because they're not prop guns. That's the thing. I hate when they're called prop. Lena Hutchins, that's absolutely terrible. But I hate when they call them prop guns, because if they are capable of firing a real bullet, they're not prop guns. They're guns.
She was shot in the chest and the director in the shoulder. Joel Souza. So two people from one pull of the trigger.
Now, see, so
was it shrapnel?
Well, they don't. They say projectile, but in my mind, so you have the cinematographer, so probably behind the camera, and then usually the director is behind them with a monitor, or beside them, like they're.
Oh shit! So you're thinking like Indiana Jones, like went through the cinematographer? I don't know, but it just director.
Like, it's one pull of the trigger, but two people injured, one seriously enough to die.
I have experience of having to turn real firearms into FX guns, and it's the process is insane. Like you basically barricade a room and you search the entire room, you and a partner. You up, down, you make sure all bags coming in, you searching every pockets for real bullets. You inspect like every single round of like the FX ammunition. You search each other like it's
right. You guys get naked and feel all each other's body. Get in there.
This is me. So, like what I think, for that gun to get loaded with a real bullet, like someone's in a lot of trouble.
It's like the thing is like, what are the chances of that happening? That seems super bizarre. Well, it's happened before.
Yeah. Well, I see. I was trying to look into this too with Brandon Lee, because I don't know if he was actually shot with a bullet or a piece of what they're saying might have happened with this one is that a piece of an FX round, because it's just blanks, but you can still get stuff that lodges into the barrel. And then when you fire the next one, it's a bullet. And now if there's something in the barrel, it's shooting that out like a projectile. So maybe it's something like a piece of shrapnel out, right? I don't know. It's tough.
Well, okay, in my mind,
we lost Andrew.
I mind in this. Oh, we lost Andrew?
I think so, yeah. But
Andrew, I'll make a mark.
Anyways, what were you saying, Zell?
So in my mind, is this a possibility? These same guns, these guns they're the same guns. They just they're putting in blank rounds, so no projectile. It's just like a closed shell at the top. So it's all gunpowder for the muzzle flash and stuff. But
yeah.
Could you put a real bullet in? Say you went to the range the day before and you're practicing shooting real targets.
Oh yeah.
So in this situation, so you're at the range, you leave one in the chamber by mistake. You don't you think you take out your magazine, but you left one in the chamber. You didn't look at it, and just negligence. The next day you load in a clip of blanks and you left one chambered from the day before. Is that a possibility?
Yeah. I mean,
gross negligence, but is it possible?
It would be unbelievable gross negligence, because you would just you would have some sort of safety precaution where you're looking at the gun every day, inspecting it, opening it, making it sure. Now this sounds like it's a Western movie, because honestly, in this day and age, that there's not firearms that that are 100% movie props and real guns are being used seems crazy to me. With 9mm and stuff, you can take the slide off the top and you can actually put in it's like an FX slide, and it shoots special blanks, or you can do simulation round that shoots little detergent pellets. But a real bullet will not fire through the barrel, right? It's a different size now, but it's still the same 9mm. I don't know how it is with these kind of revolvers, but I mean, terrible day on set, terrible thing. And to be honest, the backlash online from it has been even more ridiculous. And it doesn't help that Alec Baldwin was pretty vocal when Cheney accidentally shot the person. And so that's being drudged up, people calling for him to be arrested. I don't think, in this situation, this is a terrible accident. Terrible.
For something like this to happen and so quickly in such a, public manner, right now we're continually being updated as this, the information age. We're going to keep getting new information probably every day for the next 2 weeks about what actually happened. And I mean, there's stuff in there already about, from what I can gather so far is that production for the last couple weeks has been a shit show. They were already, you already said, there were already safety complaints on the set. The union workers walked off, and that include the armor and the set armor and the person who deals with the firearms and stuff. And they brought in essentially scab workers to come in and take their place. And then there was something I saw in another article about that specific firearm that he was using during that scene had been fired earlier in the day, which could then, that raises the the probability of the perhaps something had gotten like the Brandon Lee incident, like an object or a round had been lodged in the barrel. So even if you check the chamber, like you wouldn't see anything unless you physically check down the barrel and you're like, okay, like that's clear. Then there could have been something in the barrel where that round fired off and then just propelled that object out of the barrel. I'm still early days. I haven't read the news today, so it could be something. There could be a completely different assessment of what's going on. But from just talking about, I was having a conversation about the Brandon Lee, and a lot of people are revisiting that, and of course that's going to pop up. That's on everybody's YouTube feed because that's the last most memorable recent one of an accident like this happening. I feel bad for Alec Baldwin. Like I know he's a divisive and like he's a vocal and a divisive figure sometimes, but shooting somebody and then having that happen and then everybody just piling on you, like that really sucks. Yeah. It's you feel bad for the guy. I liked him in 30 Rock. Like I know he's not like a wonderful. He's probably not a wonderful human being, but he might be. I don't know. It might be.
No one deserves that. No one deserves to.
Nobody deserves like people going in there and just like judging up and being like. I've seen some really tasteless comments about the situation and people, really, really getting in there. And even if people can kind of justify it, like, well, he's a public figure, like, it just nobody kind of deserves.
I think it's tough
in the early days.
He's a producer, but like. How much power he wields on set. Like if it comes out that like he chased these people, the like union workers away and then was like just ignored all safety precautions and then ordered these people to get these guns ready who weren't, then I'm like, okay, well maybe he's, culpable, but we don't know any of that. People are just speculating all sorts of crazy stuff. So
once the full story comes out, then it's like, stuff can be leveled and be like, okay, the reactions are appropriate and what needs to happen. But yeah, I can't imagine just being like, you're on there making a movie, cinematographer and director, and then like down, like it's.
And the fucking paparazzi's there taking pictures of him like distraught. I was like, Jesus.
Well, the crazy thing too is this is probably during filming, so this is all documented.
Well, he went to he went to the local sheriff's office. Like they took him to the police station and everything.
Yeah, he said fully cooperating. But yeah, we'll come back to it. I mean, there's other accidents. In 84, John Eric Hexum killed himself he's playing Russian roulette with a fake, but he shot and the shockwave cracked his skull because he put it way too close to his head. He wasn't actually supposed to
blanks
fire.
Can still kill. I mean, blanks even, it's said all the time, like blanks can still kill. Like that's still the force of that thing.
Yeah, but for this one, there's no way it's a shockwave because there's no way. So something flew out of that gun. We'll find out later what it was. But
for Alec Baldwin, I thought you were talking about the other guy. I was
no,
that could totally happen if you put it right next to your head.
Head for sure. Yeah.
All right. I got before because we got just a mixed bag of stuff today. I've been looking through MUFON, and I've been recently figured out that you guys know MUFON?
You know what MUFON stands for now?
Yeah. Did you know they log all reported abductions and UFO? It's crazy.
I mean, they are the mutual UFO network.
They do everything with UFOs.
So I've been going through and I was like, I didn't realize I can just look for people who have abduction stories, who say they've been abducted. So I've looked up a couple. I got a couple of ones. I haven't pre-screened these, so I don't know. I'll read this first one, then we can see
raw and uncut.
Raw and uncut. We can see if what we think about this UFO abduction story. In 2012, I was living with my then girlfriend in Indianapolis when one night we were visited by a very slender, very tall, extremely hostile gray alien. I was taken from my bed and dragged across the floor. We were phased through the wall into the backyard where, hovering silently just above the treetops, was a semi-translucent triangular craft with each of its 3 points disappearing beyond the horizon. It was massive. Biggest thing I've ever seen in the sky. I remember thinking it was part of the sky, but as we neared the center of my backyard, its edges became illuminated by an extremely bright, pulsating bluish white light. In the center was a dull red light, which seemed to be the dullest at its edges and slowly became brighter at the center. I got the sense it was some type of weapon. Then the bluish white light flashed like lightning. The next thing I remember is waking up face down on my lawn, clothes inside out and backwards. My socks completely gone and never found.
Oh no, socks!
He took socks.
I question
Wait,
how
he was
long
sleeping with socks on.
I question how long he searched for those socks. And to be honest, if I lost a pair of socks and then saw some socks in my house, I could never tell you if those were the ones I lost or those just they look the same.
I'm more creeped out by the fact that that person sleeps with socks on.
I do every now and then. If I'm really tired.
If it's cold.
Have you never been too tired to just slip off socks?
I've slept in jeans before.
I can't. I can't sleep with socks on. Like, it's weird.
Anyways, so where was I? I had a feeling of seasickness with rubbery legs and general confusion, which I've experienced before in a concussion. I was discovered extremely traumatized by my girlfriend who had been searching for me. Upon entering the house, it appeared to have been ransacked. Both of our pit bulls were unexplainably locked in a spare bedroom. My girlfriend began explaining her experience with the same entity, which I had not described to her yet. She claimed it had the ability to modify reality and made itself look like me. She had sex with who she thought was me. She passed out during the encounter. She woke up that morning, terrified, nude, and laying in our closet with no recollection of going in there. She then discovered I was missing and then subsequently discovered me laying in the backyard. All of the electronics in the house were fried. For about 2 weeks, it returned every night.
Jesus.
For that entire 2 weeks, I didn't speak of anything that happened. I was extremely withdrawn and afraid. Neighbors witnessed the craft and lights in the sky as well, and my girlfriend's odd behavior during this time. Then suddenly, it all stopped. I live in extreme fear ever since. I was a skeptic before this. Now, I am a UFOologist myself. One thing I forgot to mention was how it smelled. We both recalled having a strange, moldy, cinnamon-like smell to it that for me reminded me oddly of like sleeping gas at the dentist. That's the abduction story.
All right. Whitley Strieber said that smelled like cinnamon, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So wait, for 2 weeks straight, these people are getting fucked with.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm a little interested in how why an organism or creature that can modify reality would have to lock the pit bulls in the closet.
Pit bulls are the devil's breed, Dan. Even the aliens
why would
know
you have
this.
to lock? No, but aliens are the devil. So like, why would you have to lock them in there?
Well, why not just use the reality stone and make the dogs think that everything's okay?
Maybe they can't. Maybe dogs
can probably sense. They can probably sense the bullshit.
Why is he locking everybody in closets? So you lock the pit bull in the closet, lock the girlfriend in the closet.
The weird thing to me is he says it was taken from a bed and dragged across the floor. And like you said, sleeping in the socks. He also says he was awakened in full clothes, inside out and backwards. And I'm like, okay, so now you were laying in bed fully clothed and they dragged you out. And then they dragged you out naked and then they put clothes on you. Like there's some inconsistencies there. You know what I mean?
Put his clothes back on.
His mind scrambled from the whatever device they use. That's what's happened here.
Just like imagine like waking up outside, like you go to bed fully clothed for some reason, and then you wake up outside and like you're like Zell who sleeps in jeans, and then your jeans are on backwards, and like you got like one sleeve, like you're wearing your jacket as pants or something, and it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's back.
He's back.
You missed the big revelation that Zell sleeps in jeans
every night.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
Man. Not the only
Every time I've ever done that, that's comfortable.
I love the feeling.
You're asking for ingrown hairs wearing denim to bed.
Oh, you should see my ass.
Buddy. Yeah, I bet. Just fucking.
You know what? I doubt he's got it. I bet you he's hairless. He's one of those fucking hairless weirdos from the neck down.
Unfortunately, I can say
is
the opposite. I've seen this guy
incorrect.
with a shirt off. I mean, from a distance, you might think so because it's so long and luscious blonde, right?
So, I mean, he's translucent and his hair is almost translucent.
Dude,
so it's
I
like
can actually
fucking
grow a
just-
full body beard.
Yeah.
I can go right from the mustache, just right through the neck, full neck beard, chest, all the way. It's disgusting.
Zell kind of reminds me of Austin Powers, but like with Fabio blonde hair.
He's
on
a
his
blonde
chest.
Sasquatch.
It's true. It's not as noticeable.
Rare breed of blonde Sasquatch.
Honestly, fucking Papa Zell there. One time I went to their house when we were younger kids, and I must have like walked around the backyard just as he had dove into the pool. And it looked like just a fucking murky hair floating underwater. I was like, what's in the pool? And then he came out and I was like, holy shit, some fucking wolf man.
It's funny. He's going to listen to this. He trims his leg hair now.
Well, dude, he's a pretty hairy guy. I don't like, I would probably do the same.
Listen, I was big time against it too. And then when I got my tattoo, I was like, well, you can barely see anything. Like the fuck, all my artwork's got beards. Like it looks stupid. So I trimmed my arm hair and I was like, okay, like cool. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I got one arm that's trimmed, the other one that's not. So like I had to I trimmed the other side. I didn't take it all the way down, but I just kind of trimmed it just to make the disparity not as aggressive.
No. You got to do a little body
bad.
grooming every once in a while.
I did. And I'll do my legs, you look like I'm ridiculous. I got Brillo pad all over me. So I got to fucking trim it a bit, right?
Oh, the leg hairs are what keep
It's
the
aggressive.
mosquitoes off. That's how mine work.
Yeah.
That's also true.
Got thick, coarse leg hair that keeps the mosquitoes off.
Yeah.
What were we
You're a
talking
pretty
about?
hairy guy too.
Abduction.
I
Talking
told
about
that UFO. Sorry,
UFO.
Dan.
Zell sleeps in jeans.
Zell sleeps in jeans. Dan, what do you got? What do you got for the power hour? The hour of power.
For the power, I brought, for those of you who were observing the pre-dawn sky Wednesday, October 20th, you may have saw something flying through there if you were in the areas of Ohio, Michigan, or Indiana, and around those where they meet. There is a fireball that seemed to burn through the sky, through green, gold, pink, having a whole bunch of just firework colors coming through there. It must have been pretty impressive. There's more than a few videos online of it popping down there. Of course, you get the standard array of, it's a UFO, it's a meteor, it's some of the more.
It's a fireball.
It's a Hadouken coming through the sky. And so some of the more plausible explanations it was probably a rogue meteor from the Orionid meteor shower, which peaked on Thursday morning.
It was those damn bugs.
But apparently it was actually a classified Russian spacecraft that was identified by the Space Command database as Cosmos 2551 that had been launched on September 9th from Russia's Plesetsk Cosmodrome, which is about 500 miles north of Moscow. And pretty much as soon as they launched it, apparently it was already having problems and it was already fucked from the beginning. And then it just kind of took a dive as they tracked it.
What is the Cosmodrome?
That's a dope
that
name.
sounds like an evil layer.
I mean, it's just it's like a
Russian
space center.
scientist.
It's the same thing. It's the Kennedy Space
You can't
Center.
end it with
Cosmodrome is
Technodrome.
pretty sweet.
That's bad. Those bad guys live there. Fireballs getting launched from it. That's boys. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
satellite
still
trackers.
listening. I got to grab another coffee, but I'm not wearing pants, so I got to wheel away from the camera.
Are you wearing boxers?
Yeah, I was seeing it.
Oh.
What are you talking about? Put it fucking. Why are you being modest for? This guy's never been modest in his life.
Inchworming away out of the room here.
The inchworm's right.
That might be
that's
the reason
why he's fucking scooting away.
But they in the story they quoted a couple of scientists. Mike Hankey is one who's an amateur meteorite hunter who manages the American Meteor Society, the fireball database, which you can pretty much look up any fireballs that get reported. You can kind of look it up on that database. He says an unfortunate truth is that we're approaching.
Wait. There's a fireball database that you can submit reports of fireballs.
Yeah.
Can
the
we
American
submit
Meteor
every
Society.
time Zell does it on D&D?
Well, yeah,
we'll
when
put
he
the
hits level
time.
5 eventually.
We'll put the time code and everything. So then when people look it up, it's fireball.
Fireball.
We've got
Fireball
audio and
incinerated
video
6
footage of
kobolds on a late Thursday night.
This is perfect.
Well, okay, let's be honest. Fireball missed 6
Yeah.
kobolds.
Exploded directly
Massively.
behind and not injuring any kobolds.
I'm going to say that 90% of the fireballs on the database are probably missed fireballs from Zalarius.
Just arcing through the sky.
Yeah. The only way to know for sure is like how dark was it around? Was it darker
Hopefully
than dark?
darker than dark.
It's pre-dawn. You know, that's when it's always darkest before dawn.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Probably
talking about.
hilarious.
Yeah, but they were saying this is kind of a thing that you've seen these increasing reports of like space junk falling down, and you know, this the time that we're living in. It's like the more that goes up, the more that's going to come down. So you're going to get a bunch more of this stuff.
That's cool.
Talk about the problem of just like space trash just slowly filling up our low Earth orbit.
Just
low
by-
atmospheric orbit.
Just by Dan telling the story, it just reminded me something we didn't talk about really. And this answered a lot of questions in my life as well. About a previous event that's happened to me, which I've talked about on the podcast before. So,
That time you ate the space poo?
yes, but it's not space poo, and I'm going to tell you why right now. I'm going to tell you right, because this happened. It's not too far from here. October 12th, Ruth Hamilton woke up. She woke up with a space rock on her pillow. No joke. Golden, BC.
She woke. It didn't wake her up.
Oh, it did.
Crashed through
No,
her
it
fucking
did.
house?
No, it woke her up, but like it was
okay.
on her pillow. Like it fell through her roof, through the floor, onto her pillow. She's just sitting there. So at first, so she calls the police. She's like, there's a rock came through my roof. So the police, they go in the morning, they go to the local, like there's a construction site nearby, like they're doing blasting. Confirmed.
How hard's her fucking pillow?
Well, it was slowed down by the roof and the floor and the drywall. And then she sleeps on a rock hard pillow. She loves it. She says it's very comfortable.
Titanium pillows.
So the cops
Good for your back.
Cops go to the construction site, investigate. They're confirmed no blasting anytime near where this rock would have fallen through, but confirmed sightings of a meteor, like not a meteorite, but a meteor exploding in the atmosphere. Big bright flash, precisely around this time when it came through. So they go where they went to, I don't know, some university. I'm going top of my head here. They go to the university, confirmed it's a meteorite fragment through analysis of the rock. So what happened is airburst meteorite. So it hit that, and then so this thing's not going at 30,000 kilometers an hour, obviously, when it hits. It blasts, hits the atmosphere, shatters, and then it's just a raining rock from the sky. So just whatever terminal velocity would be. Falls through her roof, through the floor, lands on her pillow. It's the size of it's like the size of her fist. She could have been
fucking
crushed by a
crazy.
rock just sleeping. So this,
That must have been disappointing for you because that's a little bit too much. You can't eat that, eh?
well, then I wanted to ask, because there is little fragments around. I wanted to ask if she ate a piece. I have not yet. But she said she kept it. So this takes me back to my space rock. Same thing could have happened, but it was during the day, so no one's seen the flash.
What do you think that thing's worth?
It's pure
Fist
iron.
rock?
It's pure iron, so I don't...
Yeah.
How much is an ingot of iron?
But this is space iron.
Space
iron.
though. It's from fucking space.
Well, I mean, I think
there might be a fucking symbiote in there, man.
It's true.
You have no idea. We don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's from the Western University in London, Ontario, is where she sent a piece of the rock to. Confirmed meteorite.
Woo!
I thought, didn't this
Yeah,
happen
but
to
she
BC?
sent this guy, what's his name here?
What's going on, Ruth?
2780.
You got a problem with UBC? UBC isn't
Peter
good enough for you,
Brown.
Ruth? Can't keep this rock local?
Yeah, Ruthie, what's going on here?
The fuck, Ruthie? Come on.
Anyway,
A
so
rod of iron is worth $2,700.
that's pure iron.
Yeah, but this is from
it's not
space.
Well, I think we
space
talked about
iron.
it before. Like generally, like meteorites that are comprised of like have a high concentration of iron in them. It's iron that would be inferior for any type of like construction.
Listen, we know you got guys sitting on fucking just ridiculous amounts of money. I'm not going to name names that are willing to buy said space rock and eat it to see if they get magical powers. All right. I'm surprised. I bet she's getting bids right now. She's getting calls.
They're all from
I don't know, some guy that claims to be
she's got a restraining order against them.
That's
You
what I'm
gotta stop
saying.
calling.
You got Ruth sitting there being like, some guy says he's the man of steel and wants to buy this fucking space rock off me. He just won't leave me alone.
Yeah, and then she was looking for other stories. If any other people have had a meteor fall through the roof, and within the last year, one happened in Indonesia. Very similar experience. Didn't fall on her pillow, but crashed through a roof. So these fragmented falling chunks of space rock may be more common than initially thought. So careful while you sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe this will lead to a new building code. You need to have meteorite-proof roofs.
You need to have pillow roofs.
I mean, you got space trash falling out. You've got meteors smacking into people's roofs. Like
Bunch of pillows on your roof. Like we all know pillows are impenetrable.
you gotta
by
start
fucking
putting that on
meteorites.
your house
So,
listings, like, you know, as a selling factor, you know, selling point. Like I reinforced the roof over the master bedroom, so therefore it's
With
rated for
pillows.
meteors.
That's some cosmic shit. Like if you get killed by a falling meteor that comes from space, airburst, blows through your house,
wanted you
and
dead.
blows you apart in your sleep, your time was up, my friend. Like, you know,
you're supposed to be
you're
dead.
supposed to be dead. That is some cosmic.
Sweet baby alien Jesus
He wanted
wanted you
you
out of the
dead,
picture for
yeah.
whatever reason. He wanted you gone. Ruth Lee, you live to see another day. Something's up with Ruth Lee.
Yeah, keep your
need to
head on
interview her, we need to
swivel,
know.
Ruth.
Yeah.
The universe is
They're
coming.
after you.
The universe is coming for you.
All right.
What else we got here?
Let's take a quick break. I've got to fill up a coffee.
The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place. The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place.
All right. Coffee's full. All right. One more theory for the Power Hour this week.
Oh, wait.
What?
You guys see this?
Oh my God. Did you pay to get that painted of yourself?
No. If you're on our Discord, we had a spooky gift exchange, and whoever got me fucking nailed it. Look at that. Look at that likeness.
Well, because
That
they
is
know. Yeah, but they know that there's nobody else in this world that would want a self-portrait of themselves on their fucking wall other than Braden. Like, it's perfect.
Look at those little cheeks.
They made him a little too small.
Yeah, they're a little small.
A little small.
My-
Is that an ice cream cone in your
I
hand?
think it's a bag of candy bananas.
Oh, it definitely is.
Okay.
I think so. But like,
right.
I mean, the resemblance is uncanny.
I mean, the hairline's
hairline's thick.
but that's fine.
Ass is a little small, but it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I like that they hid the gut. That's good. Like from that's a honestly, if the cheeks would be coming out as much as the gut on the other end, if this was the pose I was choosing.
They painted you at the perfect angle. Is that paint or is that sketch? Is that painted?
I think it's a digital art, then printed on a canvas.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I signed up for this exchange, but I just sent a gift. I requested not to get one. I sent my note just the other day.
You could do that. I was like, can I sign up twice? I want to receive two gifts.
You pretty
I
much
was
did.
like, yeah, just put my address to everyone, and if they want to send me something, they can.
Yeah, it's no big deal. You got Ernest and Ernest. You get a self-portrait.
Not saying that you'll make theory of the week,
But you might make theory of the week.
Braden's getting all
getting
the
all the
fucking
gifts over
presents.
here.
Look at this guy.
Who's number one now,
Jesus
bitch?
Christ.
You may be number one in the polls, but I'm number one in the hearts.
All right. Let's get to a little. People ask all the time, you guys talk about lab leak. Like, okay, well, we're not, first of all, we're not investigative journalists. We don't really know. Investigatory journalists. But this is something that if you had mentioned it a year and a half ago, you're getting banned off YouTube, and it was a no. Don't talk about lab leak. It's a straight zoonotic transmission of COVID-19 through bats, through maybe a medium other animal to humans. And then over the last year and a half, more and more information has emerged.
Pangolin.
Was it pangolin?
Maybe. It was pangolin.
Maybe pangolin.
It was pangolin.
That's where they found
Now it's
that's where
maybe
they found the
pangolin.
closest.
I think it's
Closest
penguin.
genetic similarities.
Anyway, so I found a good little timeline because just recently there was some new stuff announced that we're going to get to right at the end. That's a little bit wild. So let's go through a timeline. December 30th was the
1988. I was born.
I was born May 9th, 1988. Just kidding. It was like, 12,000 BC, I believe, actually.
Yeah.
Shit.
So December 30th was the first initial warning, urgent notice speculation of a new coronavirus may have originated from the seafood market in Wuhan. Let's go down the list. January 23rd, Daily Mail headline, China built a lab to study SARS and Ebola in Wuhan. That was the first the public knew about this
China.
This virology lab in Wuhan. Not a conspiracy. These labs are all over the world, not just in Wuhan. Every country's got at least a few. January 26, 2020, Washington Times published coronaviruses may have originated in lab linked to China's biowarfare program. That's what got people real scared. They're saying this was a bioweapon. We're not saying it is. This is just how the story progressed. January 30th, Tom Cotton, speaking at a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, says this coronavirus is a catastrophe on a scale of Chernobyl for China, but actually it's probably worse than Chernobyl, which was localized. This coronavirus could result in a global pandemic. Has.
Yeah.
February 3rd, the novel coronavirus spreading around the world was a bat-derived coronavirus. This is when we first heard about it, probably from bats. Indicated that is 96.2% identical to the genome level to a bat coronavirus named RATG13, which we'll come back to in a second. February 9th, criticism from China's ambassador pretty much saying that it's impossible that there's a lab leak, pretty much pushing the agenda that this was 100% zoonotic, no responsibility of China. Boom. Science responds. February 19th, 27 scientists, we stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories suggesting that COVID-19 does not have a natural origin. Not really in any basis, though. They just kind of it must be zoonotic. And then
There's only 27. I mean, there's got to be more than that.
And here it is.
There's got to be more scientists than that, right?
There is, but this draft was organized by Peter Daszak, president of Eco Health Alliance. Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be talking about them again
So
soon.
Eco Health Alliance, we'll get more to them. March 11th, Scientific American publishes a profile of virologist Shi Shengli, who heads a study of bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Quoted as saying he never expected this thing to happen in Wuhan. If coronaviruses were the culprit, Shi members thinking, could it come from the lab? Questioning their own lab itself, their own safety itself. But through their research, at least what they presented, they breathed a sigh of relief when the results came back. None of the sequences matched those of the viruses her team had sampled from bat caves. Going to get to that more of that. Intelligence community weighs in on it. March 27th of 2020. Likely that the coronavirus emerged accidentally due to unsafe laboratory practices. I mean, it's not the first time we've had lab leaks around the world. There's a whole host of them. You can go look. There's like
Hashtag look them up.
look them up. Man, smallpox is leaked from lab. Ebola is leaked from lab. H1N1 is leaked from lab. Anthrax, SARS from 2004 when they're studying it had leaked from a lab through like.
Mr. Conspiracy leaked from a lab.
Yeah, I mean, they're all lab leaks happen. I mean, these are very highly contagious. They're contagious diseases. Some they get out. I mean, it can happen. Rare, but it has happened before. April 14th. Josh Rogan from The Post revealed in 2018, State Department officials visited the Wuhan Institute of Virology and sent 2 official warnings back to Washington about inadequate safety at the lab. Dun, dun, dun. Let's fast forward a bit. Let's go ahead.
Wait, what year was that?
That's still in 2020.
Okay.
So that was like saying back in 2018, they visited the lab, saying that perhaps unsafe safety procedures.
Okay.
July 4th, a virus 96% identical to the coronavirus. I mean, a lot of coronaviruses are very similar, so 96 maybe is not that high of a number. I'm not really sure. Was found in an abandoned copper mine in 2012. Left 6 men sick in a mining operation with a pneumonia respiratory disease after they were tasked with shoveling bat guano out of the mine. The virus was collected in 2013 and stored at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. They study all kinds of coronaviruses here. It's not like, I mean, that's part of the stuff they'd studied.
I mean, that's where you find most of them in those bat caves.
Yeah, 100%. And it's bat caves, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, so Batman's just fucking... just a walking contagion. Everyone thinks he's got superpowers. He's just making everyone fucking sick.
Nobody thinks Batman has superpowers. What are you talking about? You're making an ass of yourself. Batman doesn't have
I'm saying,
superpowers. He's not like,
that's his
he didn't get
superpower.
bitten by a radioactive bat with coronavirus.
Well, he doesn't even know.
You're getting your superheroes confused and you're making an ass of yourself. You need to stop. Gotta stop. Got it.
All right, July 28th of 2020, Jamie Metzl, former Clinton administration national security official, suggesting that an outbreak of a deadly bat coronavirus coincidentally occurred near the only level 4 virology institute in all of China. Interesting. It's only a few kilometers away from the wet market. Yeah, correlation doesn't mean causation, but it is. We even talked about it when we first did the case.
Where else would you put like that kind of facility to study when it's close enough? Like, it seems a perfect place to put it.
Yeah, so it's just that's maybe coincidence, but it did start.
Very convenient.
Science Magazine on July 31st publishes an interview with Shi Zhengli. We talked about her a little bit before. She says, to date, there is 0 infection of all staff and students in our institute. Okay. That's what they said then. November 2nd, Stanford University microbiologist David A. Relman. The origin story is missing many key details, including a plausible and suitable detailed recent evolutionary history of the virus. November 17th of 2020. Paper written by Rossano Segrito and Yuri Degin is published. The genetic structure of SARS-CoV-2 does not rule out a laboratory origin. Met with backlash, back and forth. Some people agreed and some people didn't. On the basis of our analysis, they conclude an artificial origin of SARS-CoV-2 is not a baseless conspiracy theory that is to be condemned. November 17th, same day. Researchers at the Wuhan Institute post an addendum to their February 3rd report in Nature from that same year, acknowledging that RATG13, which we talked about earlier, the bat coronavirus closely associated with this was found in a mine. So this is the first time they acknowledge that these 2 viruses are very, very, very similar. So we're 10 months after they said no chance. Now we're into 2021. This is when the lab leak theory hits the New York Times and becomes more of a mainstream accepted theory. January 15th, just a few days before Mr. Trump leaves office, State Department issues a fact sheet on the Wuhan lab, quoted as, "The U.S. government has reason to believe that several researchers inside the Wuhan Institute became sick in autumn 2019 before the first identified case of the outbreak, with symptoms consistent with both COVID and common seasonal illness. The Wuhan Institute has published record of conducting a gain-of-function research to engineer chimeric viruses," meaning blending two different viruses together to see what happens.
Yeah, the Chimera. I remember Mission Impossible.
Yeah, multi-headed viruses. But the Wuhan Institute has not been transparent or consistent about its record of studying viruses most similar to COVID-19, including RATG13, which is sampled from the cave we talked about in the Yunnan province in 2013 after several miners died of SARS-like illness. January 20th, change of administration in the United States. For whatever reason, this starts to pick up more and more, not credibility, but interest, I should say, I guess. Before is no, Trump called it the China virus or the Wuhan flu or whatever. That didn't do good for anything about this.
No.
February 9th, 2021, a joint report by the WHO and China declares the findings suggest that the laboratory incident hypothesis is extremely unlikely. Of course, I mean, you're China, this would look really bad. And you don't have to look far for the WHO and, greatly funded by China. So conflict of interest, maybe, perhaps. 2 days after, WHO Secretary General Tedros, Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Jesus, these guys got hard names. Secretary General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus refused to rule out the lab leak scenario. So 2 days after China declares highly unlikely, they say we're not going to rule it out. Some questions have been raised, he's quoted as saying, as to whether some hypotheses have been discarded. I want to clarify that all hypotheses remain open and require further study.
It's quite the fancy spin on Ted, eh? Like Tedros.
Yeah.
It's fucking regal.
Tedros Alba.
February 19th, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan issues a statement about the WHO report. "We have deep concerns about the way in which the early findings of the COVID-19 investigation were communicated and questions about the process used to reach them. It is imperative that this report be independent with expert findings free from intervention or alteration by the Chinese government to better understand this pandemic before the next one." Fair. March 4th, 2021, prominent scientists from all over the world, an open letter to the WHO, call for a new investigation into the origins, saying the previous investigation was flawed. Letter detailed elements of full and unrestricted investigation. Additional letters are also released April 7th and April 30th of this year. March 22nd, Australian newspaper reports Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers working on coronaviruses were hospitalized with symptoms consistent with COVID-19 in early November 2019, more than a month before it was actually declared to the world. So now it starts tumbling out a little bit. Mm-hmm. March 28th, 60 Minutes airs a report about the lingering questions of the virus, featuring Metzel and former Deputy National Security Advisor Matt Pottinger. Danny, these guys ring bells, names to you?
No, I haven't watched that 60 Minutes special.
But Metzel or Matt Pottinger, I never heard of them, so I wasn't sure who they are.
I mean, you could really put that title on anybody who worked in the thing. I mean, deputy, whatever, it could have been a whole bunch of people.
Anyways, in this 60-minute special, they say there was a direct order from Beijing to destroy all viral samples, and they didn't volunteer to share the genetic sequences. Whatever stored at the lab was destroyed. Records destroyed. May 5th, Nicholas Wade, this is a weird magazine, but writing in the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, reviews the evidence and makes a strong case for lab leak theory. Now, I don't know exactly what this is, but it has to do with the virus itself. He focuses on the furin cleavage site. It's part of, you know what that is, Andrew?
Yeah, I have a little blurb on it.
So, while you find that, I'm just going to read what he's quote what he said here. "When I first saw the furin cleavage site in the viral sequence with its arginine codons, Arginine coatings. I said to my wife, it was a smoking gun for the origin of the virus. These features make a powerful challenge to the idea of natural origin for SARS-2.
So the furin cleavage site, I believe, is basically the site that allows it to basically affect humans.
It's like part of like the spike protein or whatever. Or?
The genetic code cleavage site that makes the virus more infectious by allowing it to efficiently enter human cells.
Like it's primed for more for humans than other coronaviruses.
Exactly. And well, I'm sure I won't speak on it anymore because I'm sure you're getting to what makes that.
Yeah, we're almost end of the timeline. So May 14th, another 18 scientists published a letter in the journal Science saying a new investigation is needed, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this before. Theories of accidental release from a lab and zoonotic spillover both remain viable. So more and more scientists are piling on, at least taking the lab leak more serious. When in early 2020, you're considered a conspiracy theorist, a nut job to even consider that was possible. May 17th, former New York Times science reporter Donald McNeil posts on what's Medium? Posts on Medium. Is that I don't know what that.
It's like a
website,
periodical site. Yeah, it's a website.
How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Lab Leak Theory. He quotes W. Ian Lipkin of Columbia University, who had signed the March 2020 letter, which we talked about, saying he has changed his mind in light of new information. So scientists started to change their mind in May, and this is when Fauci he testifies before Congress.
Senator Paul.
Testifies before Congress that NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain of function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but we're not sure if he knew that perhaps. We're not sure if he is really lying here. He just didn't know at all. So that pretty much, it kind of like that. So after that, it simmered throughout the summer. And now there is, just in the last week, hey, Andrew? There's more information come out?
Within 3 days, I believe it was 3 days.
That's just come out more about this. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so on Wednesday, the NIH sent a letter to members of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce that acknowledged two facts. One was EcoHealth Alliance, which we've mentioned already, a New York-based nonprofit that partners with far-flung laboratories to research and prevent the outbreak of emerging diseases, did indeed enhance a bat coronavirus to become potentially more infectious to humans, which the NIH letter describes as an unexpected result of the research it funded that carried out in partnership with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The second was that EcoHealth Alliance violated the terms of its grant conditions, stipulating that it had to report its research. If its research increased the viral growth of a pathogen by tenfold. Which basically contradicts the fact, like you said, do we know that Fauci knew about this? We don't know for sure. But it completely
well, it's like they didn't submit that report until a couple of days ago. That report was 2 years overdue. The EcoHealth Alliance, they fucked up, because if they did what they said they did, or what they're reporting, that what this report indicates is that they had an unexpected, the procedures that they used had an unexpected, byproduct of this more infectious disease, to certain whatever, but they didn't report it.
They didn't submit the report, but what Fauci swore under oath was the fact that the United States was not funding any type of research.
And then that grant report, I remember reading that whole thing. The parts that Senator Rand Paul had highlighted on this, this whole thing about gain of function research and what was going on there in regards to EcoHealth Alliance and their grant from the NIH and stuff like that. It stipulated within there. It said no gain of function research, but apparently it happened. When they were doing it, it happened, and then they didn't report it, or they chose not to report it at some point. When it happened, and what Andrew just said, it was unexpected, and whether or not how infectious it was. Now it just says tenfold. So whether or not this gain of function or this modification that they made to the virus made it as infectious, tenfold more infectious? Does it say specifically like how more infectious it was than the regular disease? The unmodified version?
It's a good question.
So they didn't report it. So EcoHealth Alliance still fucked up because they chose not to report it or withhold that information, like for whatever. So whatever information that Fauci was like testifying to his knowledge, to his best knowledge, they'd never had done that. And EcoHealth Alliance seemingly here either lied or they broke the rules of their grant.
Definitely.
Like they've made like the NIH or they made a statement like right after like this stuff came out and they said Fauci, what he was testifying on to his best knowledge. I mean, he doesn't know everything. And if EcoHealth Alliance, like one contractor decided to go fucking rogue and not report it, like you're not going to know if it hasn't been reported.
Yeah, I don't think he lied. I just don't think he had the information. Like we're not looking at this.
I don't even give a fuck about whether if he was in on it or not. But the fact is that we have proof that there is a Wuhan Institute of Virology that was working on a coronavirus, that we have evidence of a grant that that the fucking whatever the Eco Health, that they were like trying to get approval to get a grant to see if they could make coronaviruses more effective on human beings. Like they were working on that in this fucking lab.
Yeah.
And
like
that this is the site.
I remember the whole thing from a couple, like after the Rand thing, the whole congressional testifying and whatever. I remember reading a couple articles and they were talking about how EcoHealth Alliance had originally submitted a request to do this type of procedure, to do the gain of function. They were going to modify the spike protein and be like, perhaps see what it does. And the NIH, the NIH said, no, we're not going to let you do that. Like that's
at the epicenter. Like this is,
they're like, we're not going to let you do that.
Come on.
I mean, I can understand like,
come the fuck on.
And so, but I'm saying like, yeah, the NIH said, no, don't do this but EcoHealth Alliance, like from reading up on them, it's like, they're trying to prevent the next outbreak.
Yeah. Let's be clear about it.
And they created it. They're trying to prevent it and they created it and they created
perhaps
this entire
they
pandemic.
created it in the effort to see how the coronavirus could affect humans. Perhaps it got out.
And then we got a bunch of random employees coming getting sick a fucking few months before. Like, come on.
I mean, they said, we just talked about it in the timeline. Like so 2018, whatever you said, people started getting sick and whatever. Like, yeah, those things.
The same time as the exact same year as the supposed grant.
But also coincides
to fucking do this research
with when like that was immediately following a bunch of cutbacks to like the labs that were working there, like at least the United States funding of the CDC and all the stuff that was going on within there. Like there's a bunch of budget cutbacks to all of that stuff, pandemic research, all of those things. So it's like you'd have like understaffing. You'd have like, this could have been a result of that. Yeah. Like I'm just saying, like that could have possibly, you would have had understaffing.
Yeah, they were working on this new this new strain that was going to be more effective on humans, and then they did cutbacks, and it fucking there was mistakes made, just like mistakes happen with professionals every day, like just like on movie sets that shouldn't happen. Mistakes happen. Human error is the most common fucking thing in this situation, and it fucking took place, and they started this pandemic. You're gonna tell me?
So yeah, but they're saying that specific
at
virus,
the epicenter,
not that one, like not that one. But if they compare it with the one that is now the dominant strain, or the one that came out and started the pandemic.
Yeah, because they evolve. It's how many times has this evolved?
Right, but
how many times has this strain evolved?
Genetically different. They made the comparison. It's like comparing a cow to a human.
Well, no, the RATG13 and the coronavirus that escaped from Wuhan are so similar that it draws concern.
Well, it's also being like how similar. I'd be like, it's only 3% of DNA separates a person from a monkey.
but Dan, the thing that has everybody, like the thing that has most of the scientists that are bringing concern to this is the distinctive segment of that SARS-CoV-2 genetic code, which is the furin cleavage site. That's the part that's the major concerning part, because it shouldn't be able to fucking enter human cells as efficiently as it does. That's the concerning part with this. And that's the part that's been altered.
The other like respiratory ones like SARS and MERS, yes, they could get into humans, but it wasn't
But
so
isn't that
contagious.
part like naturally? Isn't that the part that would have to modify it? No,
No,
I'm saying
that's-
isn't naturally. Wouldn't that part have to modify itself in natural evolution for it to become more infectious to humans?
No, yeah, but that was part that code, like that same furin site. That was the one place that the fucking why am I fucking jumbling on my goddamn words? That was the feature that the EcoHealth Alliance were fucking trying to alter in that proposal. That's what they were focusing on, and that's what is making this virus so effective.
I need to look it up, but I'd like to see like why did they want to modify that? Now I know you reasoning it out. That's the way it would make it more infectious. But is that the site perhaps like the way the biologists are looking at it? Like this is the part, like if this modified itself in nature, then this is the most likely way and the quickest way that it would become more infectious.
It seems it would. What a coincidence that it evolves in nature at the epicenter of where they're also testing to make those changes.
Well, the bats are 1,000 kilometers away in those caves. They're not. The bats aren't in Wuhan. The bats have to be.
Or
brought.
Are they? We talked about the wet markets. Like people were eating bats there. There's a lot of weird stuff you can buy in there.
Yeah, but they're saying zoonotics. That means it would have to alter first to another species and then quickly alter to humans so quickly that a lot of people say that's way faster than the evolution of this virus should go to be that contagious to humans.
But how long had it been kicking? Around in like a wet market? Those wet markets have been there for years.
Hey,
like it could have been just like passing back and forth between
reading the reports, Dan. Also in that report, it was mentioned that not only did they do this with this coronavirus, they did it with MERS, making chimeras of MERS back in 2012.
And what
did they
modifications
learn
did they
nothing from
make
Mission
to it?
Impossible? Like, goddamn.
The scientists swapped out the virus's receptor binding domain.
And were those the strains of MERS that made it? That had the large scale infections that we saw?
I don't understand. You can't see the fucking shadiness here.
I can see that there's the perils of research and these things.
Just stop. Like take all the political fucking agenda bullshit out of it, and just realistically everything we just talked about. You don't see anything that's alarming.
I see that biology research is dangerous, like this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so what are we supposed to just stop doing?
Absolutely.
No,
nobody's saying that. But what we're talking about right now is the fact that there's a good chance that this could have fucking originated at this lab.
I'm also saying that there's a good chance that there's a lot of different vectors. That is one of those theories. It is a good theory.
Dan, the whole point of this was when this started a year, 21 months ago, to even mention the thought of a lab leak would get you banned from YouTube.
I think it was more about like it being a weaponized version.
Originally,
like it was intentional.
And then even through all of 2020, any type of lab leak was deemed conspiracy. And now we're in end of 2021, and they're like, good chance. It's at least it's accepted as a possible.
It's always been in there. I don't think they've ever totally ruled it out. Like it's never been totally ruled out by everybody.
If you go by all the news and everything political about it,
I don't go by all the news. Like I'm telling you, like it's always been in there. Like,
yeah, but it hasn't been in the public domain like that at all till now. Like now everyone's like, oh, maybe.
I think to be honest, like, and I maybe you would have had better. I think the whole bundling of like the fumbling of this, governments and their coronavirus, how they handled it, was that we just had no idea. You're getting, different information's coming out everywhere. Whereas like, had they been like, this is possibly, we don't know exactly where, but this is at the epicenter here, this in Wuhan, and there is a lab there, and, it could be, and it could be a lab leak. And if that's the case, it's imperative that we fucking do these lockdowns, because if it's a lab leak of something that we fucked around with, we don't know what the fuck we could have done to it. And so let's just err on the side of caution, everyone. But I think
it's been a huge thing that China hasn't been completely transparent about what's going on. Like that's a whole thing. And when you said like the WHO and now all the, everybody who's piling on there and being like, there needs to be an independent investigation into China. It should be free of China, the CCP, like all of their interference. I'm like, how would you do that?
There's not. It's anything that we would uncover is gone. It's destroyed. Any evidence is gone. It's
I'm
all
just
this is
asking for
destroyed.
any
Even
country.
that-
how would you do that? Like, how would you tell a
Even that
country
fucking,
we're going
like,
to
so-
violate all of your country's sovereignty? Like, we're going to be able to do that. We're going to investigate whatever we want, whenever we want. How do you do that? I'd like to know.
that grant that they discovered from fucking 2018 was discovered by a group of fucking internet sleuths called the Decentralized Radical Autonomous Search Team investigating COVID-19. They're the ones that found that fucking that leaked grant.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The reason
Yeah,
why
I
we
remember it
stumbled,
coming out.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know, but I'm bringing that up because the only reason we know that is because a bunch of these fucking internet people with no fucking time were able to dig this shit up and find. Like, we would have had no idea.
Coronavirus jumps to cats, the internet sleuths will fucking sort this
They'll
right
find
out.
it.
Right, ASAP.
Yeah.
Right, we'll hold someone
It's
accountable.
fucking wild, man.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple months. So.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if like, you know, down the road, I've had it, and it was fucking weird. I've said it a whole bunch of times. It was like, I've never been sick that way, where it's like I'm sick with certain symptoms, and then like the second I get better and I'm like, oh, this is over, it's like a wave of new symptoms. Almost like it's like poking and prodding and being like, oh, well, you know,
What can I get? Where can I get him next? What can I get him next?
Right? It was so fucking weird, because like I've been sick and you get all the
Yeah, but
symptoms.
it's not even
and
like-
this is like,
Medical professionals say the same thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's not you as a layperson who got sick saying like, this is a bizarre. The entire medical community is like, this makes no fucking sense. This is one of the weirdest viruses we've ever encountered. It's fucking bizarre.
Gets in your
so
nose
like,
and
it
your
wouldn't
throat.
surprise me.
The way it's transmitted is bizarre. The way that you can carry it asymptomatically, and some people get fucking sick and other people's don't. Like, it's fucking bizarre.
Some people get
it's
COVID
almost
toes.
like-
Some people don't get any symptoms.
That's fucking bizarre, man. Thank God we have a vaccine. That's all I have to say.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if we find out that it's a lab virus that got out and then mutated in a wet market, but originated it like we had, you know, poked and prodded it in a lab. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely nothing would surprise me.
No,
I
nothing.
wouldn't be surprised they said it's 100% leaked from a lab. What would surprise me if they were like, this was a bioweapon, because that would probably surprise me. Because we've talked about it on other podcasts. We talked about it, and what was it like? We talked about like Lab 731 when we talked about the Japanese and like how the Germans carried out their bioweapons programs, and then like when the United States and Soviet Union picked it up, they realized how dumb it was, because you're like, why would you if you distribute a bioweapon, there's nothing to keep it. Especially now, if you've seen the pandemic,
We're
like
so intertwined.
it's such a bad idea, because you're like, it could just mutate on its own. We saw it with the Delta virus. We saw it with the Delta strain. You're like, it's such a bad idea. Like it's just a really, really bad idea.
Well, you know what? So are nuclear weapons, but we fucking fire those things off too.
You know, and I do find it unusual that it's like that one, like, again, like they had that grant. There was the one that Andrew is referencing. Like, they wrote that grant to request the gain of function to be like, we want to do this, maybe, perhaps, blah, blah, blah. And in that stipulation, that was like a response from the CDC or the NIH being like, no, we don't want you to do that because there's a possibility of gain of function. Like, we don't want you to do that.
And they're like, oh,
but if this
we
happened
won't do it.
unexpectedly,
We already started. We thought you were going to say yes.
like you said,
so
I
we
think the
started.
key word
I'm
is
sorry.
unexpectedly. Like, they made a modification and they didn't know that it was going to do this, and then become, you know, we don't know how more infectious, because it's not an exact number there. It's, again, transparency. Wish we had more information, more data, but.
And I'm sure this comes from a place of like viral, like these things, like they're like, oh, you know what? Like, well, maybe we should toy with one of these things to try to see if it made a jump to humans, you know, how we could fight it. And then in the process, you're like, fuck, we just created
it.
the fucking shit that we wanted to try to figure out how to solve. Whoops. It's this.
Yeah, but, like,
it's
you
the
think about
story
it,
as
it's
old as
really not
time.
that-
Really.
But like, is it really that hard to believe? Like, you're working on this, whatever, like Dude Dan said, there's budget cuts, there's whatever, especially when we know that you could stay for 14 days, that virus can stay in you dormant without showing any symptoms. And you could get infected in this lab and have no fucking clue and have going around your community, checking out wet markets, being around your family.
I'll tell
and
you
the next
this.
thing you know,
I'll say
shit,
this.
I'm
I'll
sick.
say this. At it doesn't matter what job you have, what profession, what skill level. If you work with 7 people, one of those people's an absolute fucking moron.
It's true.
That's the truth.
Absolutely.
That's the truth of it. And everyone else goes,
Somebody put a live round and a gun
everyone
on a
else
movie
goes,
set.
how is this person here? How did this person, how are they standing here doing the same job? If you work with 7 people.
I just seen Jimmy handling the coronavirus without gloves on. What an idiot.
Yeah. He's licking his lips after lunch.
It's like fucking Homer working at the power plant there with the fucking scratch.
I'm just saying, like, you know what? So like that, if it's human negligence, it doesn't surprise me. Even like if you work with
Human
any
error,
amount of
man.
people, there's someone there that's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and that's
Well, the best part about it, it's like in your brain, in my brain, you think like lab leak. I see like these containers bursting open and this fucking steam flying out and this red stuff, and it leaks underneath the door like creeping death, and just sneaks away. And it's like, no,
invisible.
not at all. Like we know how easily transmittable
invisible,
this stuff is.
microscopic. You can't see it. It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like the smallest little malpractice. We happens all the time with our fucking cleaning techniques after we get exposed to COVID. The way we doff one piece of equipment, we sanitize our hands. You doff another piece of you sanitize your hands. Like, you know what I mean? You miss one step and you can get infected. It's
not like
easy.
it crawls out of its container. It's like it's in the lab. Shut it down.
But that's what you picture when you're like lab leak, like, oh my God. It's not like that at all. And then when you say like, oh, few people from the lab reported a fucking flu-like illness, a month, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah, man.
Dude, if I worked in a viral lab, anytime I got sick, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah, but they also,
Jesus.
and I'm sure they kind of they're virologists. I would assume that they would take that kind of precautions as well to be like, I got sick. Oh shit. Is it something I was working with in the lab? Like, I would think you'd be worried about that, and they would check that. And then, like we said before, they were like, you guys said in Reddit, they got symptoms that they are associated with COVID, but they are associated with seasonal illnesses.
We did that confidential about that motherfucker doing the nuclear fission with his bare hands.
That was before like they really understood what radiation was. Like, I think we've come a little bit farther since then.
Yes, but I'm saying, I'm like, you know what? Like, I guarantee you there's still cowboys out there in every field, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it doesn't even matter for Cowboys. It's just human error. There's fucking dummies like you're talking about. People make mistakes.
Yeah,
Even the best people make
here's
mistakes.
the final quote to end this power hour. It's by our good buddy Alan Grant, Jurassic Park. Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions. It could happen. You're trying to figure out how the virus works.
Thinking if they could, they never stopped to
think if they should
or what.
Yeah. So busy, preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Yeah. Anyways, and as we all know, life
must
finds
go
a way.
faster. Must go faster.
Anyways, that's it for this case file. We'll be back to regular, case files next week.
Good one.
I don't know. Keep those eyes on the skies, everyone.
Peace.
Man, that sunset is gorgeous.
Grill, patio, sunset. Hard to get better than that. Unless you're browsing Carvana's inventory while you soak it all in.
Oh, burger time.
So sit back, get comfortable. Carvana's got thousands of cars under $20,000 just waiting for you.
I could stay here forever.
Carvana, where car buying meets comfort, meets convenience. Download the app or visit Carvana.com today.
Man, that sunset is gorgeous.
Grill, patio, sunset. Hard to get better than that. Unless you're browsing Carvana's inventory while you soak it all in.
Oh, burger time.
So sit back, get comfortable. Carvana's got thousands of cars under $20,000 just waiting for you.
I could stay here forever.
Carvana, where car buying meets comfort, meets convenience. Download the app or visit Carvana.com today.